Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I am Harem Verzosa, and I'll be tagging along as we tackle through a certain book called Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa that was written by Mr. Ismael Amado during the American regime in Philippine history. But before we tackle the contents of this book, let's talk about its author. Mr. Ismael Amado is the Filipino author who is responsible for the creation of Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa. Surprisingly enough, he wrote the novel at the ripe age of 18, according to certain sources, though it's hard to be sure due to the lack of information regarding his biography. His book Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa was originally published in 1909, but ultimately republished in 1991 by the University of the Philippines. We've talked about the author, why don't we take a quick run through his book? Now, Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa is a historical novel written by Ismael Alberto, as mentioned earlier. This novel is based on actual Philippine history, specifically during the American regime. It tells the story of a man named Gerardo who upheld laws and justice given by a foreign authority only to go back on his own words in the end for his own country's justice. The book contains mixed stories of love, policies, and how the foreign colonizers asserted their rule over the nation. The main theme of the book is about hope for a better nation. It also touches on the issues of corruption in the government, submission of the natives' will to the foreigners, and the control of imperialism over the economy and politics of the country. Despite the changes in time, the novel remains as a relevant piece of Philippine literature as it continues to reflect the country's experience through major historical events in the form of literature similar to this one. The novel features two main characters, namely Gerardo, a young man who believes in the benefits of the policies and governance of the American colonizers, and Elena, an educated woman who strongly believes in Filipino perspective. Now, this novel is set somewhere between 1898 and 1946, during the American colonization of the Philippines. During this period, many new laws were set by the foreign rulers. Along with this was free education. Now, in this novel, the plot revolves around Gerardo and his late realization that leads to his revolt against the foreign rulers. Elena's interactions with them played a crucial role in Gerardo's transformation. She helps him see the injustice brought upon their own people by the American colonizers. This leads Gerardo to change his beliefs and actions, moving from a staunch supporter of the colonizers to a defender of his own country's rights. Set during the American regime, the novel introduces Gerardo, a young man who strongly believes in the policies and governance of the American colonizers. Now, Gerardo's beliefs are challenged when he meets Elena, an educated woman who strongly believes in Filipino perspectives. Through her influence, Gerardo begins to see the injustices brought upon his fellow Filipinos by the American colonizers. Gerardo, influenced by Elena, decides to break the laws of the colonizers to uphold his country's brand of law and justice. After breaking these laws, Gerardo faces the consequences of his actions. Now, the novel ends with Gerardo's transformation from a staunch supporter of the colonizers to a defender of his country's rights. This novel is written from a third person's perspective, providing an overview of the characters' experiences and the societal conditions of the time. Now, this novel, surprisingly enough, explores several other themes besides its main theme. First is colonialism and imperialism. The novel is set during the American colonization of the Philippines and reflects the realities of this period. It portrays the impacts of colonial rule on the Filipino people. Second one is justice and law. The protagonist, Gerardo, initially upholds the laws given by the American colonizers. However, he eventually breaks these laws to uphold his own country's justice. Next up, we have nationalism and patriotism. The novel depicts the struggle of the Filipino people against foreign rule and their fight for independence. Next is love and sacrifice. The novel also tells a love story between Gerardo and Elena. Their relationship, especially on Elena's part, plays a crucial role in Gerardo's transformation. Finally, these themes intertwine well in the historical context of the novel, providing a great piece of history and making it a significant work in Philippine literature. And that was Bulalakaw ng Pag-asa, written by Mr. Ismael A. Amado. Thank you for tuning in with me today. I am Harem for Verzosa again, and have a nice day.